today you're here with the Queen Pin and the Wingman. Oh, we're doing a different hiding now. You're peekaboo, or is that what we're doing for peekaboo?
Yeah, I'll pull up a new one.
Oh my
French fries.
So, oh my gosh.
Oh.
So as you can see, guys, I'm getting better with the lighting and all the great stuff. So I apologize to those who said, "Hey, I can't see you." Well, guess what? Now you can see me. So, all right. So one thing we're talking about is we're always on a budget. We're always on a budget hunt. We're always trying to keep things within means, but we want people to feel great, look great, and keep your style. So one of the things you and I talked about was shopping, like past season or before the season.
Yes.
And, for those that are CQP fans, I love clearance diving. I know you haven't heard that term, Rich, but that's one of my favorite things. It's clearance diving.
I love it.
It's like you go into the clearance bin and you just dive on in. So, oh my gosh, okay, and you said you're dealing with clients with that. So what's one of the things that you found with it?
Well, in Florida, it's tricky. We really only have, let's face it, kind of a couple seasons. It's not like you in New York, right? So right now they saturate everything with winter clothes when most people are not going to be wearing those winter clothes for a substantial amount of time. Let's call it for what it is.
Really?
Yeah. And even though they send winter clothes throughout the whole country, but let's face it, that's more or less for tourists as well than locals. So I have a couple clients that we were shopping for clothes and I told them, listen, guys, in the summer, let's say, for instance, is when you want to buy a leather coat. I'm just saying.
Yes.
That's when things are on sale. I'll just use, for instance, in the winter, you want to buy a bathing suit because that's when things are on sale.
Right.
It's slim pickings. Let's call it for what it is a lot of times, but you have to hunt. But if you're always getting caught up buying for the upcoming season, you're going to get beat up the most financially. And I get that's when you have the most options. But when you buy out of season, is when you're going to find the best deals. That's when you're going to literally in the summer, who's buying a leather coat or a mink or a fur or a full length. That's when you're going to see 70, 80% off, these type of deals. Again, they may not have as many, but the thing is always be kind of hunting. I think people have to learn to shop, not just for what they need now, what they may need in the future. And that can be 2 seasons from now. If it's winter now, let's not worry about spring. Let's think about summer maybe, right? Or fall, maybe too. So anyways, that's what me and you were going to discuss today.
Which makes sense, which actually does make sense because it's like, you don't think of it, but you're always like, I think one of the things that gets pushed is, oh, you have to be in season, being in season. And this is why you and I also talk about classic styles.
Yes.
Always having that one classic style or a couple of classic style outfits. Why? Because you're always going to need a white shirt or white blouse, white top for something. You're going to need black pants, black skirt, that little black dress for something.
Yes.
Yes. It's great to have, the latest, the greatest, we've all gone through those things where there's something that's so on trend for that particular season. Yeah, and we're not saying don't go out and buy it. That's not what we're saying. But if you are buying something, let's say from even spring, or you're going ahead, you're going from spring into summer, and you're buying, that cardigan that you wanted or something like that, it's going to be cheaper. Yeah. And at that point, I would say, don't pick, the rainbow polka dot with the butterfly kind of thing, because guess what? It looks cute, it looks great, but at that point, people are going to be, and we all do it. Let's be real. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, that was so last season. So, but if you pick something, let's say solid colors, you can go with polka dots, you can go with stripes, but something really classic at that point. And something that, here's the one thing, again, something that you're going to like. Yeah. Something that you're going, like, even if it's not the most current, but something that you know you're going to wear again and again. Like I am, the fan clan knows, anybody that knows me knows. I don't think you know this, Rich. I am a pinstripe fanatic.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that's
but
cool.
Pinstripes are always a classic go-to.
Of course.
So you can't, I mean, you know, it's like, okay, so what? You have the pinstripe shorts that you are kind of rocking with something. You can pair that with a blazer. You can pair that with a cute, cool sweater. You can, but there's so many ways you can wear that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it makes perfect sense. And at that point, you're getting it at least at 50% off. Yeah. I'm sorry. I always say anything less than 25% off is not a discount. I know it is technically, but it's like most places, the tax here is like almost 10%.
Right.
Yeah. So why would I go for you giving me 10% off?
Right. Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, you're taking off the tax. Yeah, I'm paying. Yeah.
I get it. You know, you're somebody who sounds like too, you're not always following a trend. You kind of want to set your own for yourself, right? I always talk about, and you want to find clothes that fit your style, that look incredible on you, that are affordable for you. You don't want to get a lot of money. I think you're also talking about finding pieces that aren't just for this year, which a lot of, as you know, especially women, I would say more than men, because men's clothes for the most part, they don't really go in and out of season to the level of women's fashion.
Right.
I mean, lapels may change, ties change, but as far as, you know, traditional clothing, I don't care if it's Ralph Lauren or if it's Armani or if it's Xenia, a lot of these clothes, you know, across the board look the same. But what I think too is what people have to purchase is things that are, again, like you're talking about, kind of not going to go out of style, that you're going to use not just this year, next year, the other years. So for instance, I told my friend, you need a leather coat. I've even done a video on YouTube saying every man needs a leather coat that looks great on them. And I believe that. And he doesn't have one. And he lives in Florida. He's always like, what am I going to wear? And I said, I'm wearing one now. Same with a turtleneck. I told him, you have no turtlenecks. When am I going to wear that in Florida? I said, dude, you travel. When you travel to Vegas, it's not always hot there, like in the winter months. You go to California or you go to New York, right? I'm just saying, like a turtleneck like this is never going to go out of style. And you can
definitely not.
No. And if you find one that looks good on you and you find them on sale, but those are kind of tricky. It's hard to find a turtleneck in the summer. Let's call it for what it is. But you can start to find them again, even when you're not looking for them, when they're starting to go on sale. And even though you're like, oh, it's summer's coming up, why would I spend $100 on 2 turtlenecks? That's stupid. Well, next year when winter comes around, you're like, oh, I got these 2 great turtlenecks, like a black and a white one. So like I said earlier, you're shopping, not people just always shopping for what they specifically need. And men are the king of that. Women kind of keep an open mind and go, oh my God, that'll work with this outfit. Oh, I got a summer. This will cover up this bathing suit nicely, even though it's in the winter, or this coat will work in the spring. Men are kind of like, you know what? I'm going to a wedding. I need just this, or I just need this tie. Or I need this. When you could be shopping and like find a tie on sale. I just saw one. I saw a vintage Versace at a Goodwill. I don't know if it was authentic, brand new in the package. But $50. But I don't need that tie right now.
Right.
And I already have a Versace tie. I'm just saying, but for $50, I told my buddy, we didn't research it enough to see if it was authentic, but I'm like, these are unbelievable ties. You are going to eventually go to a wedding, a wake, a funeral, a doing where you can wear this tie multiple times and it is forever. So.
And the other thing is, here's one of the things. I have been invited to places where I didn't expect to be invited.
Yeah.
Or, and let's be real, this is the time when, especially with the workforce being what it is, people are leveling up. So if you're in certain circles, I don't know if you've ever been to those where it's gala season for that particular industry.
Of course.
And one thing, guys, is because we always see it, we see, you know, Golden Globes, Oscars, Grammys, we see all of this, but there are different, you know, industries that have their own events that happen. Yes. And when you become supervisor, manager, or plain old stakeholder, You get invited to these things. You have to have something to wear.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, there are just rules to this. So you want to have that thing. And ladies, one thing we all know, you have that one thing in the back of your closet that you haven't worn, you've been saving for a special occasion. So it can't look like Princess Unicorn gone crazy. So, you know, go with your classics. And it doesn't even really matter the color. It just has to be, in other words, your classic look. Something that you can say, okay, yeah, this looks great. Oh my gosh, I forgot I had this. Let's put it on.
What I think kills women is social media now, because they don't want to be seen a lot of times in the same outfit more than 2-3 times, especially. So if I go to the Emmys, which I used to go all the time, of course, who I'm going with is never going to come close to wearing any of the clothes for the pre-party, all these things. Men, on the other hand, really, and I discussed this in my videos about how simple and cheap it is to actually buy a used tuxedo and how much money over the years that'll take. Most men are used to thinking, oh, I got to go to Neiman's, excuse me, Nordstrom's, or I got to go to a tuxedo shop. They got to tailor it. It's $1,500, $2,000. No, again, you can go to a consignment store because they get a lot of used tuxes in there, or you could go to Goodwill. All you really need to do is start off with the shirt. A tuxedo shirt, you could even get those at Burlington Coat Factory for $30. But you find a used tuxedo, and believe it or not, you're going to be shocked, because I've even found shirts I found in Goodwill, brand new Armani tuxedo shirts for $450. They'll sell them for $30. I've seen Armani, Zegna. I've seen so many tuxedos. I have about 5 coats. Don't worry about the pants. A lot of times the pants may not work, but all you have to really do is find nice dress pants that are black, or patent leather shoes, or just black shoes. But right now, you go spend at a Goodwill store $50 for a tux, or whatever, 70, get a new shirt, have it tailored. You have that for life, unless you gain weight or lose weight. And you can wear that to so many occasions. You can go to any gala, and instead of always having to buy, a lot of men want to buy new suits all the time. They'll go spend $400. Oh, I got to go to a wedding. I got to go to a gala. I got to buy this color. I got to buy white, or I want to buy red. That's cool. But always, instead of renting tuxes, I tell, because a lot of guys end up renting a tux at least once a year, maybe once every 2 years, $180, $150. You spend $100, you're never going to have to spend it again. I mean, we're leaving George Clooney. They used to question him all the time and say, you know, what's this? What are you wearing? He's like, it's the same Armani suit I've worn for the last 10 years, or tuxedo. It's not like he's replacing these. He's like, this is the same tux.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. But anyways, I mean, you know, and I agree, because realizing that Tiffany Haddish, when she first got on scene and made it big, that white dress, the infamous white dress, and they clowned her so badly for this one white dress. And it's like, and the funny thing was, after a while, I was like, okay, but how many of you can say that you've honestly been to the Oscars, to the Tonys, to anything? So if she chooses to dry clean and wear the same white dress to every single event for the next 10 years, that is her business. Like, you know, it's ridiculous.
Well, at that point in time, too, kind of like Hilary Swank, they didn't have any money, like even when she won the Oscars. So a lot of actresses, comedians, or just people in general, they can't afford to get new outfits. And I think she was at that point in time. What is she going to spend $500, say a dress for every gala or every event? All of a sudden you become hot. You don't have any sponsors. No one's giving you clothes. And
that's really what it is. Most people don't realize a lot of their clothing, a lot of the clothes that is worn on these red carpets is sponsored. So how do you compete with that if Vera Wang is not knocking on your door because you're Zendaya, you know, and you're just making it into the industry and you haven't caught anyone's eye, you don't have a stylist yet, you are working with what you have.
Absolutely.
You're really working with what you have.
Is it Vivica Fox? The black girl, she played that basketball movie. She's done TV. I can't remember her. Is it Vivica Fox? One of the she's an African American woman.
Okay.
She quit going to events. She didn't have enough sponsors.
Vivica.
Yeah.
I think it was Vivica.
I think she was going to a lot of events, spending her own money. Then someone, I think, was sponsoring her. Then they dropped her. Just saying. So now she says, I literally am not going to keep going to all the events I keep getting invited to. She wasn't getting that much work out of it. She's spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I think that's what happened with Winona Ryder, honestly, when she got caught stealing all those clothes. Because again, you have to live a certain lifestyle, right? And after a while, if you don't have that money, especially a woman, to be spending all this money, and let's face it, going to these galas or the Emmys, the Grammys, or whatever you're getting invited to, besides all the other parties that are going on throughout the world, believe me, they have to have a different outfit every time. These women, men are in tuxes. Do they really want to spend $100,000 on clothes or accessories? Even if they maybe do have $1 million, or they don't, or they are hitting hard times, it's not an easy game. That doesn't include makeup, hair, travel costs. A lot of this, people think just because they're a celebrity that they're always being endorsed or they're getting all this money. They have ups and downs like everyone else. So
right. And that's the thing is, like, you know, a lot of celebrities are not getting those big endorsements. And especially if you're just making it in the industry or you're in that in-between time. It's like being in between jobs. You know, so I agree.
It's tricky now because kind of the new celebrity could be someone on TikTok that has millions of followers, or on Instagram, or a musician, or whoever. Just because you're a well-known actress now and you're going to red carpet events, people don't give a shit necessarily. But if someone gave me an outfit and I got 10 million followers, and I show that outfit to all my people, I'm going to get a lot more exposure than Winona Ryder, hypothetically, or just say another actor that's a B or C-list actor. Who cares? You got one movie coming out. You go to a premiere now, you take some photos, then who the hell are you? Right? In 2 weeks, your movie's going to be heading to Netflix. If I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I got millions of followers. I'm talking about your brand. I have a built-in audience. That's who I'm going to go after. So that's where these brands are kind of teaming up with independent people, where before it was newspapers, magazines, television and film, and doing Johnny Carson or doing Jay Leno or doing
and that's the thing, is that it has changed. So I mean, one of the things is, even those that follow me on CQP Moments and follow my Instagram know I do reviews. This is why some of my reviews, some of the items will say free, because it's something I received. But other things, companies will tell you, you are expected to buy this, review it, and then possibly get compensation if they like your review or if they like your posting. So it's like you're doing more of gaining followers or getting people, you're doing free advertising for them. But a lot of times you're not getting paid for this. This is not something that they're giving you. I mean, and even some things where you're thinking, oh my gosh, it was so free. Like, they tell you, okay, you know, you have to kind of position it this way, position it that way. So it kind of looks bigger than it is, because they gave you a sample, like literally a sample. So, you know, I get it.
Yeah. It's back to, I get a lot of us get great ideas. And I tell a lot of men and women a lot of times when they want to change their identity or look a certain way, there may be a celebrity that you look up to, right? Or that you may look like. That doesn't mean you have to duplicate them. But if you do like J-Lo's hair, hypothetically, or this dude likes Hemsworth's whatever look, Beckham's style, doesn't mean you're duplicating it. Kind of build off of something similar to what they have. But again, buying the right clothes, I should say they have stylists that do this constantly. They have an extreme amount of money, promoters and advertisers and marketers and all these things that really help them develop this look. You can also take that look and you don't have to spend all that money doing it. But again, you have to find affordable clothes, unless you can afford them, God bless you. But you can dress really the way you want to dress. You just have to be savvy and smart. and one of them is
right.
buying. I'll say one thing here is when I used to travel all over North America, there's a lot of malls. Like, say I live in Florida, I live in Orlando. There's the Florida Mall, which is one of the most popular malls in the country. And then we have two of the best outlets in the country, very busy.
Right.
And then we have a bunch of, we have Disney Springs. We have all these malls, Millennial Mall.
Okay.
These are kind of really established malls. But if I go 60 miles out of here,
okay,
and then there's some larger malls, you go there, you're going to be shocked at the deals you find. I'm just saying, and how much less money it is just because they're dealing with locals. You don't get caught up in the tourist atmosphere. And that same goes for if you go to LA, New York, Chicago, all these places. But I'd be in New Orleans. I would go to off the beaten trail. I didn't even know where I was at. And I'd find a certain brand that was like whatever their brand was, like a Dillard's or something. And I'd find golf wear there and workout clothes that were like it was nowhere near a golf course. So they have all these things related to golf. So I'm getting shirts that are $120, $150 in Orlando, $30 there. Shoes, like even gym shoes that are $120 in Orlando,
whoa,
$49 there. Right. And
wow.
if they do out of a fluke have a Nordstrom's rack or a really good brand or something way out there, a lot of people in that area don't even dress like that. So back to New Orleans, that's the good old boys and shit. I'm looking at suits that are $500. They're like $99. Because how many people are wearing suits in the outskirts of the bayou? Not many.
Right,
so
right.
If you kind of get smart again and say, hey, let me find other pockets between where I'm at locally or online, go off the beaten trail. You'll be at other malls.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the one thing is, go where the locals go. That's the one thing to really ask is like, everybody always asks, where are good restaurants or where are the sites to go. But sometimes the one thing to ask is, like, where's your local clothing store or where's the local, strip mall? Because that's where you're going to find where everyone shops. And it's super, like you said, it's super amazing.
Yeah, restaurants too. Yeah, I do that when I travel at restaurants. I wait outside restaurants, so I'll go to Little Italy, but I'll wait outside a restaurant, outside Little Italy, and wait first, not just go to that one and wait for people to come out and ask like 5 or 10 different people. Is this your favorite Italian restaurant here? No, this isn't, but I come here for this dish, but my favorite one's over here. Same with shopping. If I go shopping in the malls and I start conversations with people and say, hey, is there any other malls or is there any other boutique or resale consignment in the cereal for men or women or whatever, they'll give you the in. But people don't communicate like that. You just go to your phone and put shopping or things like that.
Yeah. Right. And that's really what it is even asking, like, let's say you go, and this is one thing I have discovered in Little Italy, in the Bronx, Little Italy.
Oh yeah, Arthur Street. Yeah.
The shop use each other. So it's like, even if you, let's say, go to a restaurant, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. This Parmesan is so cheesy. And they're like, oh yeah, I got it down the block at so-and-so's. I went to Title Brothers, or I went to, so now you have the chance to say, okay, well, I love that cheese so much. Let me go. Or, oh my gosh, I love that sausage so much. So let me go down the block to get this. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with clothing. People are going to tell you what they love.
Yeah.
One of the cool things in the garment industry is finding out where people go on their lunch break. Here's one thing in New York City. I'm not really sure we eat lunch. Like, we shop.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we eat lunch.
Yeah, you stand and you're on the go, right?
Right.
I mean, it's back to pizza, back to finger food. It's almost very European where you're on the go. Paninis, or I'm just,
Right. So it's usually like you're asking somebody, well, where are you going to lunch? And they're like, oh, I'm going to Macy's, or I'm going to Lord & Taylor, or, I saw this new store opened up. You want to come along? Do you want to? And this is the other thing is, doing this gives you a chance to, one, try new fragrances. Because even if you're just window shopping, you can say, hey, you know what? I wanted to look for this. I wanted to look for that.
Yep.
And even asking, going back to the point of what was in season, and even with fragrances, they change.
Yep.
They change from season to season.
Yes.
So you can always ask. Don't be afraid to ask the cashier, the clerk, the customer service person, what is, what's seasonal, or what do you have a promotion on? Why? Yes, they're going to push probably the most expensive, but it's like, let me tell you something. And I know there are probably some pumpkin spice fans out there, but one thing is, I am not a pumpkin spice person. But if this is your thing, especially when you're going for home fragrances or some candle or something, you can at this point say, by the end of fall, you're racking up on pumpkin spice everything.
Yes.
From lattes to cereal to candles, sprays, body sprays, everything. Yes. So if they have some wonderful pumpkin fa la 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 la, you're going to be able to get it. It might have been $50 at the beginning of the season because it just was, but now you're going to get it for $5.
Yeah. You're talking too a lot about how you live as a woman, where I wish sometimes men would kind of just touch into that a little bit, maybe shop a little more, spend their time a little more like looking for things and hunting. Because a lot of men are hunters. Let's call it for what it is. But they're, I'm not saying hunting for, animal or women or whatever you want to say, but they love the search, right? But when it seems to come to clothing or colognes or all these things, they have all these options. They don't realize they're walking past all these stores, a lot of them that have really good clearances. They could be walking past a lot of restaurants that have really good deals at even certain times within the day. It could be happy hour. It could be whatever it is. But I try to teach men kind of that it's not just about doing what you need at that point in time. It's about going and experiencing things that you don't realize that can save you a lot of time and money. For the last month, I've been going with my buddy. We first started off just doing outlets, right? Then we did resale and consignment. And then I took him to high-end malls. So we had an idea too. And actually at the beginning, we went to a high-end mall just to see what was in style and stuff for him a little bit. But he started to realize, I can't believe that I can go shopping and buy 3 shirts in maybe consignment, resale, Goodwill that are new for say $90, where he used to go out and spend $450 that day he would have spent. So is your time worth 5 or 6 hours to save $300? Maybe to somebody else.
Of course.
But of course he's been shopping every weekend. Say we've spent $400. He said, Rich, I would have blew like $2,000, and it's been fun. We've been eating, I've been, doing different things. He's trying different colognes and he's going in stores he's never been in. So it's an experience again. And he's enjoying that. He never knew that. If he needed something, he'd run the Macy's or he'd run the Bloomingdale's or he'd go to, whatever other brand he liked. But to make a long story short.
And for those guys that don't know, if you're really, really trying to pick up women, one of the coolest things you can ever do is go to the fragrance counter. If you see a cute woman, a woman that you think is so beautiful, spray some on yourself and ask her what she thinks. This is way better than what's your name, what's your sign. Trust me. Ask her what she thinks.
In my program, I'm with you. The number one place to meet women is a mall. It's a mall. And not only that, I could go in a mall right now. I'm just saying, not to toot my own horn and say the mall has 80 stores. I could go in every single store. The majority of the employees are women. They have to talk to me too. Not only that, a lot of them will give me a card. A lot I can build a friendship with. A lot, if I'm interested in her, maybe she's interested in me. I'm not going to hit on her there. She's at the workplace. Maybe you come back next week, you bring her a Starbucks, or you start building a rapport within this mall. Because again, it's not only even the people that are hanging there. You could go in the food court to meet women. You could go. It's just, if you take a mall, I would say 80% are women. Very few men are in a mall. Let's call it for what it is. But you have, the thing is, you flip it on its head. You just need to learn how to communicate with each one of these women. But you can meet hundreds of women one day in a mall. And if you bring a dog or a baby, I tell everybody, you're golden. You bring a puppy.
I tell you, you don't know how many types. Yeah, that's the one thing. It's like, I am such a puppy person. Mm-hmm. Now, I will tell you, for anyone that sees me on the street, I may forget that you're there. So don't feel embarrassed, like feel like upset if I'm like talking to your puppy more than I'm talking to you.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, that is the way to get the inn, you know, well, how does this smell? What do you think?
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, at the next time, bring them Starbucks. You know, I thought that you would like this.
You don't have to purchase anything either. You can just go in the store and look. Don't feel pressured. Don't think that like, and if you do like something, maybe try it on. But again, just going and learning to talk to women too. It's a great, I take a lot of guys to the mall and I say funny things to women, not inappropriately, but I'll be like, oh, those are beautiful. Like we were just shopping. I'm like, I love your boots. The girl starts a conversation. Another one, we're in a resale thing. She's singing. I'm like, oh, what is that song? Again, then she starts telling me, we start a conversation. So I'm just saying you can do this throughout the entire mall. Don't think you have to spend money or you have to just hit on women. You're just there to have conversations. And what would be better if you have certain brands you love to go to, start building a rapport in there. If you like Lacoste, go in Lacoste 3 or 4 times in a month or 2 or 3 times. And then they start to notice you and see you. They may even cut you a deal. Also, if you like someone there and you're making the move and they're not into you, but they most likely will have friends that they would like to pick you up with if you're cool. Again, the mall is basically a nightclub without the audio. I mean, without the dancing and drinking. It's a place
and you get to know people more. You get to really know people more because you have to engage.
Yeah. And it's not a one-off. You don't walk in a store once, deal with them, and then leave and never see them again. Just if you become a shopper and savvy and smart, they're going to know you're smart too. You're not just going in there and then they just tell you how to dress and you spend $1,000 and walk out and be like, wow, I was really interested in her. And you never go back or you never even asked her anything or you never got her card. What are you doing?
Right.
So a lot of opportunities. That goes for the food court too and everywhere else.
Exactly. It's everywhere. You can, and like I said, it's really, for us gentlemen, it's about striking up that conversation.
Yeah.
And I have to say this because most guys are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Just talk.
And go on dead days. Don't go on weekends when it's a madhouse. Go on a Monday, a Tuesday, go on an evening if you want to shop, because then they're not as busy. They'd be more open to have conversations. It's a lot simpler that way. And anytime, so 2 of the guys I was with this weekend, not only were they looking for clothes, they're looking for women. And I'll spend a day with them. And then at the end, I go, do you know how many thousands of women that you were around today? And you didn't even get one number. You didn't even communicate with one. You're not even following one on social. Do you know how many passed us? How many hundreds? How am I talking to them? And I'm already with somebody. You're single and really waiting. You're waiting for them to talk to you. Or you're wanting to be sold, but you don't want to spend any money. You want them to, well, their job is to sell you clothes. But then when they talk to them and says, hey, can I help you with the dressing room or whatever? You're like, no, I'm good. I'm like, yeah. Why don't you say, hey, what's in style? What's going on? What's for sale? What is it? What's coming in? Start conversations, just something. But men especially, they're like, there's no good women out there. There's no women out there. I'm like, what are you talking? You can walk in one store, Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Dillard's, Nordstrom, Neiman's. Go to the countertop. You know how many people and women are there?
Hundreds, thousands of women that are walking in and out of these places every single day.
Excuses. And to save money, fashion too. They always have an excuse why they can't buy a new piece of wardrobe or clothing, but they could go spend $200 on a fishing rod and they've been wearing the same shirt for 10 years and they look a mess. I'm like, hey, we don't need 20 fishing rods. We don't need 10 guns, right? We don't need 10 pairs of boots. Why don't we get some new jeans and get some new clothes going here, some new accessories?
Let me tell you, okay, here's a quick question, gentlemen. How many women have you walked into Dick's Sporting Goods and seen that is not buying something for their son or, husband or something?
Yeah.
We are shopping for ourselves and that's when we are most comfortable. Most of the times in those places, again, you're not going to find female, employees. There may be one girl at checkout, but one out of how many guys? It's normally a dude fest in those places.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is. I'll wrap it up with this if you want. There was a girl at Lucky that I knew in Winter Park, which is a kind of an exclusive area outside of Orlando downtown. And it's like at the brick roads. It's kind of like a knockoff Palm Desert, Palm Springs type of thing. But I'd go in there and she was funny because I knew her. And what she would say to every guy, instead of just saying, hey, can I help you? Whatever, she goes, hey, what are you doing tonight? And they would be caught off guard. I would take my friends here. They're like, well, I don't know what I'm like. If they were there, like, we don't know why. What are you doing? Like, they would just freeze up. And she would laugh at him and go, well, I'm just asking, see what you guys are doing tonight. Can I help you with something? But it was a funny line that would catch him off guard. And it's kind of funny because a lot of men get caught off guard and they don't know what to do. It could be even at the fragrance counter. You're getting sprayed. You're like, oh, that smells good on you. And you're having a conversation. You have opportunities to like kind of further this discussion in a better way. But you're thinking, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money. She's only trying to sell me, which she probably is. That's her job. But there's also a side of her.
But
there's another side to her saying, you know, like when I go to the cologne counter, I'm like, I got this. I don't like this. This sucks. But what do you think of this? Give me a sample. But I'm starting conversations. I'll be like, hey, did you ever eat at this place? I haven't tried it at the mall yet. Yeah, I tried that. Where are you going at? Where do you hang out after hour? Where do you go? You're starting another conversation. And believe me, it could flow. But
yeah, and one thing is, I will end with this. Guys, watch how women buy when they're buying from other women.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the questions they ask. Watch the conversation. That is the kind of conversation that is engaging. You're thinking women are talking too much, but they're getting the information they need so that they can, one, come back and be a repeat customer because that's what's wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And two, guess what? Now the customer is getting someone to know what they like. So when something new comes in, oh, you like Ralph Lauren's Beautiful. Well, here's something that smells just like it.
Yep. By the way, they got a new Ralph Lauren Blackout. That's awesome.
Really?
Anyway, yeah, they got a new Ralph Lauren out. They got a new Valentino out. They got a bunch of new stuff out.
They've got a new stuff. Yeah, they've got a lot of new stuff. Out.
They do. All right.
So, guys, that's it for today with Queen Pen and Rich. We're being 100% authentic. The wingman is here. He's in the building, even though he's pretending that he's not, and he's bringing out a new squishy. Oh my goodness. So, guys, as always, let's do this. We've got this.